Okay, so President Biden once again missing an opportunity to show the world's strength on the stage that everybody else is on. So right now he's failed to confront China on major issues like the origins of COVID, the fentanyl crisis, intellectual property theft, just little things. For more on this, we're joined by senior fellow at the America First Policy Institute and former NSC Chief of Staff, Fred Fleitz. All right, Fred, it's Joe Biden's 80th birthday today. Is age just a number?
Well, it is for some people. I like to wish our president a happy birthday and a long and healthy life. But look, the president is showing his age. I think we all know that. There's an issue right now about these memos in front of him, documents that seem to be he's reading before meetings and speeches. All presidents have that. They have prepared remarks. But it reminds me of a senator who was in Congress when I was a congressional staffer. And I asked one of them, how does this senator get through the day? Because he didn't seem to be all there. And his staff told me, well, Senator Blank, I'm not going to give his name, he's a scripted senator. He reads what we give him. And that really gets to the question, is Biden just reading these speeches and documents that are given to him by his staff? And if that's the case, who's actually president? Who is running the White House?
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. It's very concerning. I mean, we have, a large contingent of the Obama holdovers, the Obama administration. Are they in charge? Like, do you have any information on that? Because I feel like we, the people, should know.
I think that's probably the case. I mean, we're seeing evidence of clear mental decline, the president weighing in on some very sophisticated, difficult subjects. All presidents read remarks. It's not unusual, but I think in this instance, his staff has extraordinary control over the president's policies, and I'm not sure we know exactly who these people are.
Right. Well, he says it all the time. He's like, "Oh, I'm supposed to ask 4 questions to these 4 people. Otherwise, I'm like, who's getting you in trouble? You're leader of the free world." All right, so let's talk about China. Speaking of the free world, I would say we are definitely in a pseudo war with them when it comes to intellectual property. I mean, they've been stealing what has amounted to probably close to $1 trillion worth of intellectual property theft over the last, few decades now. They are also pushing, one of the manufacturers of the fentanyl. They are doing a number of things. They're building islands in the South China Sea. They've recently begun the building of a military base in the Atlantic, which, surprisingly nobody's talking about. And he failed to confront them on COVID. I mean, do we have a president?
Those things are all true. This was a strange summit. There was a brief meeting beforehand where Biden and Xi both said, we hope for a productive meeting. But afterwards, there was no joint press conference. There was no joint statement. Biden said in a statement that he raised Taiwan, he raised North Korea. He said that there was an agreement that nuclear weapons will never be used in Ukraine. The Chinese released a statement, didn't say any of those things. It seems to me that from what I read from the Chinese statement is that Xi spent most of the time reading the Riot Act to Biden on Taiwan. There was a discussion of Ukraine, but it wasn't what the White House said. And I have to say, I think the Biden administration begged the Chinese for this meeting, and this is the best they could get. We needed both leaders to stand on the world stage and tell us what they agreed to, and this White House could not get that from China.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, too, is he went to bed instead of going to the dinner like the other folks had to go to or decided to go to. For that, I mean, a lot of diplomacy can be made over dinner. My bigger question, though, is we don't have somebody who's exuding the strength that we need. Okay, so we're seeing Ukraine. Early on in the war, this was, I said it here, it was the cheapest proxy war America will ever fight against Russia without the cost of American lives. Period, full stop. They're asking for another $37 billion in aid. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene have said, I want the receipts. I want to know where the money went. When I was over there, I saw where some of that money went, and a lot of it went into, preventative maintenance on places like Chernobyl and things that were actual problems. But now it's getting to a point where we've just had missiles land in Poland. Is there a way to contain this a little bit more using that same money? And is the money being well spent, in your opinion?
We have to have an inspector general, and this is what Senator Paul has called for, to carefully monitor how this money's been spent. That we had an IG named. It was called SIGAR, the Special IG for Afghanistan, to monitor our military aid for the operation in Afghanistan. I don't know why this administration won't agree to that. It would win it a lot of votes on the right and left.
I agree.
You know, there are real concerns, Carl, that the enormous amount of military aid we are giving to Ukraine is depleting our military stockpiles of crucial weapons, especially high precision missiles. And we may need them if there's going to be a war between China and Taiwan. And I think that's going to be an issue that's going to be hotly debated in the new Congress.
Yeah, I mean, you have to weigh, like, do we want to stop Russia in their tracks in Ukraine? Because Russia has said after Ukraine, they'll go to Poland. So, or do we just kind of wait it out and see if Russia has the resources to wage any further war? We'll see.
I think that we have to continue to arm Ukraine, but we have to require that Ukraine participate in peace talks. They don't have to agree to something they can't support,
Sure,
but there should be some kind of ongoing process to end this war.
Dialogue.
I don't know what the end game is of this war. I don't know how we're going to get out of it. I don't want us to be involved in a forever war in Ukraine, where the Russians just decide they're never going to concede and they destroy the country with missiles. Well, we have to have an end game plan.
Sure, and Ukraine doesn't want that. Russia probably doesn't want that, nor can they sustain it anyway because of the 100,000 troops they've lost, that's estimated. Fred Fleitz, we appreciate you being here.
Good to be here.